What you just saw were headlines from the local newspaper between 2011 and 2012. Before we dive into the actual content and change process, let me tell you a little about Emergence Health Network, or EHN. EHN was previously known as El Paso MHMR. Located in El Paso, Texas, they are considered the main source for mental health services such as early childhood intervention, veteran initiatives, medications, and doctor visits, among others. Now let's take a closer look at their situation. In 2010, President Obama signed Rosa's Law. The law would remove the phrase mental retardation from many federal laws and statutes and replace it with intellectual disabilities. Texas government followed suit with the Respectful Language Bill. In addition to the law change, the local community showed signs of frustration with EHN. Many clients were being placed on a waiting list and as a result were not receiving much needed services. EHN blamed this on a lack of funding, while others in the community considered it a lack of direction. Between January 2011 and January 2012, EHN experienced 4 major changes. First, the El Paso City Council withdrew from the interlocal agreement it shared with the County of El Paso and the County Hospital District. The decision to withdraw was made due to a loss of faith in EHN. The second change came down from the now 2 sponsoring entities replacing the entire Board of Trustees and reducing the size from 9 to 7 members. This change was meant to provide a fresh perspective on the troubled organization. Then, in November 2011, the controversial CEO resigned. The former CEO came under fire when he could not account for a great deal of funding while he warned of a financial crisis. Due to the new laws, the organization changed its name, logo, and colors. This provided the organization with a chance to rebrand itself and present a new identity to the community. There were several problems that led to these changes. The power structure at EHN is as follows. The federal and state governments oversee the sponsoring entities, which in turn oversee the Board of Trustees, which governs the CEO and the rest of the organization. This led to the creation of 2 organizational learning disabilities. With the IMI position disability, each entity involved at the local level recognized that things were not going well at the agency, but waited for others to do something about it, which created the second disability. The enemy is out there. The CEO blamed the sponsoring entities, who blamed the board, who blamed a lack of funding. At the bottom of all of this was a lack of communication. Nobody was talking to each other. Instead, they were talking about each other. Meanwhile, clients were falling through the cracks. In order to work through these changes and use them to improve the organization, there were a number of things done. First, the new board searched for funding anywhere and everywhere. Did it work? Yes. Many programs received new funding, and as a result, services improved. For example, under the previous administration, a client could wait up until a year to receive services. Now services are provided quicker, and many are provided with transportation to appointments, and if the person is homeless, they even provide housing for them. Focus groups were utilized to develop the methods that would be used to move from the old name to the new name. These focus groups consisted of board members and the leadership team. Did it work? Somewhat. The focus groups left out the base level employees who are the main faces of the organization. This was a chance to show them that EHN was truly changing. A committee was formed that developed a timeline, budget, and media campaign regarding the major changes. Did it work? Yes. EHN was able to stay on track and meet their deadlines, which included completing the process in 6 months. In order to distribute the new logo and get employees excited about the new name, EHN held internal events for employees. Did it work? Yes. Employees received new supplies with the new logo, prizes were given away, and employees were able to socialize and meet with members of the new board. Morale has significantly improved. Now let's discuss some recommendations that EHN can use to continue the rebranding process. EHN needs to become more active within the community. Many people still do not know that EHN changed their name. In order to increase exposure within the community, it is recommended that a committee comprised of volunteers be formed to attend community events. Some events that EHN could participate in include Dia de los Niños. The event is held annually and many local organizations are represented at the event. Another annual event is Spectacular, again with local organizations being represented. School events, and specifically Red Ribbon Week, would be a great way to get exposure. Often, individuals with mental illnesses turn to drugs in order to self-medicate, and through this event, maybe people will recognize these habits in their families or friends and turn to EHN for help. Another event is Minorpalooza, which is held every year before the first home game of the football season for the local university. There are quite literally thousands of people who attend, and EHN would have a diverse group of people to interact with. In the area of clients, it is recommended that EHN implement an aftercare program. Aftercare would begin immediately with a follow-up after 3 months and increased support if necessary, and another follow-up after a year. This would ensure that clients who left the organization to know that EHN will consistently remain supportive. This way, if a client has a relapse or finds themselves without medication, they are able to pick up right where they left off. The community will also view this aftercare program as a sign that the client is a priority at EHN. Finally, it is important for EHN to maintain a presence on social media sites, specifically Facebook. A quick Google search found that EHN had a Facebook page. However, it hasn't been used since 2012 and it only has 2 likes. Although many clients may not have access to social media sites, friends and families might, and this would be a great way to interact with them and show them the positive side of EHN. Also, since EHN has dealt with a lack of funding in the past, it is important to increase the donor base. Facebook would allow for outreach to many different people every time someone likes the page, and more people means more possible donors. In conclusion, problems such as a lack of funding and a lack of communication created the need for change. Change came in the form of a new board, a new CEO, and a new name. These changes created solutions which provided increased funding, better support for clients, and a new identity for EHN. Whether it was the new board, new CEO, or the new name, or maybe a combination of the 3, EHN has pushed forward and made great strides. Emergence Health Network got rid of something that didn't work and now has a new and improved organization.